Hey guys, Phoenix here. Let's open some packs. This is the Grand Tournament, which was just released around 1:40 or so Eastern Standard Time over here, and we all know what the cards are going to be, but we're all excited to start playing them, putting them in our decks, and seeing what we can do out on the field. So let's open them, and as we open them, I'll make some comments on the cards. I haven't actually done a video reviewing them, so this will be kind of a pseudo-review of the cards as we throw them out there. And a lot of other YouTubers have already done in-depth reviews. I'm talking about hours and hours of it. So it's jiggling. It wants to be opened. So we're going to open it, and each one, as I see a new card, I'll say something about it, and then we'll go to the next one. I don't want to make this a really long one because I know we're all excited to see a lot of the new cards. So let's pull it on over. Let's see what we got here. That's cool graphics. All right. Lance Carrier. A 2/1/2 battle cry, give a friendly minion +2 attack. A lot of people looked at this card, not very impressive. It's kind of like Abusive Sergeant, except it's permanent. But it's a 1/2, which is less valuable than a 2/1. And also, Abusive Sergeant only costs 1 mana, and this costs 2. So, probably a dud, unfortunately. Bolster, Warrior card. 2 mana, give your taunt minions +2/+2. I've heard a lot of reviews on this one. Once again, not a lot of great reviews. People don't expect to see this card played a lot unless a taunt warrior deck is viable. We'll see if that happens. North Sea Kraken, 9/9/7, battle cry, deal 4 damage. Once again, nothing too special. There has never been a 9/7. So it kind of fits into a place that's a little unique as far as health attack goes. Living Roots. This is an interesting one, and this is one I actually think will work. Druid card, deal 2 damage or summon 2 1/1 saplings. That flexibility, believe it or not, on turn 1, especially when it's in response to what your opponent does, is fantastic. Deal 2 damage, so it's like an arcane shot. You're able to just get rid of a threat on the board, your turn 1, or summon 2 1/1 saplings. You want to get some board presence right in the start, or if you have a deck where you have a lot of spells that boost a lot of your minions out there, once again, this card fits perfectly into it. Now we have an epic, our first epic, Charged Hammer. Death Rattle, your hero power becomes deal 2 damage, Shaman card 2/4, 4-cost weapon. We'll see. I think the deal 2 damage means you can deal 2 damage to anyone. I do think that's really powerful hero power, but the problem is a lot of the new cards that were introduced all tie into totems. So if you can't summon totems, a lot of those that ability is a little wasted there. So, all right, let's pick up the speed here. Once again, I love that opening graphic and the petals. It's a nice touch. Epic again. Sideshow Spell Eater, 6/6/5. Copy your opponent's hero power. Kind of gimmicky. Don't expect to see a lot of use unless it's kind of like in a PvE where they have the adventure mode opened for, and you're playing against some boss. Rogue, our first Rogue card. 2/3/2 Undercity Valiant combo, deal 1 damage. Once again, seen a lot of reviews on this card already. Don't expect to see a lot of play on it, just because a lot of the combo cards out there are more powerful than this one, and there's only so many combo cards you can have in a rogue deck before you're losing a lot of the value because you can't combo multiple combo cards all on the same turn. So, and we all know that the rogue kind of got left out in this expansion. A rare, all right, here we go. Wormrest Agent, 2/1/4. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and taunt. Great early card. We haven't seen a Priest Dragon deck yet. I don't think there are a lot of other cards in this expansion that allow a Priest Dragon deck to exist or be that viable. But we'll see. If it works, it's a powerful card. If not, a 2/1/4 with no special abilities, Ooh, here we go. First Warlock card, 2/4/3, Wrathguard. Whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero. It's an interesting ability. I think this is the first time that we have text like this on a card. So it's, I mean, it's a 4/3 for 2 mana. I mean, that's really powerful. But then again, you have the drawback. Whenever this demon gets damaged, that same damage goes to your hero. Now, of course, he only has 3 health, so there's only so much damage he can take. But if he takes 8 damage to kill him, that's 8 damage on your hero. But once again, it only costs 2 mana. The intent is to play it at the very beginning. So if this is played the way it's supposed to be played, it could be quite awesome. Plus, it's a demon. That's a plus. Flash heal. 1 mana, restore 5 health. This will not be used as a heal card. I guarantee you this will be used for damage. So you could definitely see some Shadow Priest decks out there where cards like this, you're going to have a bunch of spells, a bunch of healing spells, like 2 flash heals, and you're just going to be smacking the face with a lot of damage. And I could see this possibly working. All right. Bear Trap. I love this. Secret, your hero is attacked, summon a 3/3 bear with taunt. So obviously it triggers after the hero gets attacked, and it's a 3/3 bear with taunt for only 2 mana. So it's hard not to see the value there. We're going to see how that gets played. Obviously that's for control. Rare, Thunder Bluff Valiant, 5/3/6. Inspire, give your totems +2 attack. Shaman's getting a lot of cards now to help out with the totems, and this is one of them, and it's going to look real nice. 4/1/8, Tournament Medic, Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. So the Tournament Medic, it's probably going to be too slow, because a 1/8, restore 2 health to your hero for Inspire, the ability, it's not going to get a lot of use, I don't think. Up 2 Tournament Medics, and a Powered Glory, which I think is a very powerful card, because to give a minion the ability that whenever it attacks, it restores 4 health to your hero. Basically, any beginning to mid-game minion that your opponent plays and you throw that card or this spell on him, he's not going to be able to do much with it. Unless it's trading it into your own minions. Alright. Living Roots, we saw that one already. Void Crusher, 6/5/4 Demon. Inspire, destroy a random minion for each player. Don't know what they were thinking when they made this card. I think that the Void Crusher itself is included in the random minion that could be destroyed when using your hero power. And unless you plan to have a lot of 1/1s or 1/2s or like little minions out on the board, and you expect to be playing against mostly control, where they're going to have bigger minions, it's just going to be trading random destruction of minions. So, Kivaldir, if that's how it's pronounced, Kivaldir, Raider, 5/4/4, Inspire, gain +2/+2. This is very much like the floating terror, the floating horror, where when the warlock uses the hero ability, which deals damage to the hero itself, and it gets +2/+2, and that card doesn't get played. But this one's for all classes, and there's a lot of classes that use the hero power just as often, if not more, than the warlock under certain builds, so maybe it sees some play. The Maiden of the Lake, a 4/2/6, your hero power costs only 1 mana. That's going to see play. Any deck that has at least a few Inspire cards, or cards that buff the hero power, that card is definitely going to see a lot of play. And we already saw the North Sea Kraken in the first pack that we opened, so here we go. What do we got next? Flame Juggler, a 2/2/3, Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. The problem with this card, obviously, is that it's random enemy and not random minion. So dealing 1 damage to your enemy's face in the very beginning of the game or the match does not make much of a difference. You want this card to be hitting the minions on the board. You want to get rid of whatever threats the opponent's throwing out at the very start. So, I mean, there's a lot of RNG involved with this card. Okay, King's Defender, a 3/3/2 weapon for Warrior. Battlecry, if you have a minion with taunt, gain +1 durability. A 3/3/3 Weapon, it's okay. It's not great. The Warrior has so many better weapons like Death Spite and Fiery War Axe. Is there room for a third weapon with the Warrior? I doubt it, especially if there's a lot of taunts. But we'll see. Golden Common, our first golden card. Let's look at these graphics. Ooh, I like that. So 3/2/4 Paladin card. Your Silverhand recruits have +1 attack. So I know there's a couple other cards out there that generate a lot of recruits. So if those cards see a lot of play, this card will see a lot of play, and we're going to see a lot of recruit-themed decks. We got a Holy Champion here, 4/3/5. Whenever a character is healed, gain +2 attack. I think that's a solid card. It's a solid base card, good mid-game card. There's already a lot of other cards that benefit whenever you heal. Though this specifies whenever a character is healed. So I think by character, it's specific to the heroes. But I might be wrong. And the Flame Juggler, so that's the second one in that pack. Alright, let's move on. Now we're starting to see a lot of duplicates here. Ancestral Knowledge, 2. We've seen this before. 2 cost, Shaman card, draw 2 cards, Overload 2. Basically, a bad whatchamacallit, the Arcane Knowledge card. Because that only costs 2, and it gives you, it costs 3. Costs 3, and it gives you 2 cards. This one costs 4. So obviously there are cards that take advantage of Overload and the cards that get rid of Overload, but then you have to combo it with those cards for you to get the value that's better than the Arcane one, the Mage one. Spellslinger, 3/3/4 Battlecry, add a random spell to each player's hand. There's going to be more Mage decks now that I think are going to be themed as far as much more spell heavy, just because you're going to get a lot of cards that benefit from having spells and casting spells. So this card definitely going to see some play. The Saboteur, 3/4/3 Battlecry, your opponent's hero power costs 5 more next turn. I think that's too slow. And it's only for 1 turn. And so what? Your opponent doesn't use their hero power next turn. They just do something else. And that only will be powerful against decks that run a lot of Inspire cards, because most decks aren't looking to use their hero power, especially early on, because this is 3 mana, so you'll probably be playing this early on in the game. This is a unique one. A new beast captured Jormungandr. 7/5/9. First time we've seen a card with a build like that, with that much health and attack for that much mana, and it's a beast. So any cards that summon beasts has just been buffed. And a Tuskar Totemic, a 3/3/2 Battlecry, summon any random totem. Awesome card, especially with that one totem that's been added. And that card is definitely going to be seeing play in a Shaman deck, or at least a Shaman control deck. Alright, let's see what the next one looks like. Holy Champion, we've already seen. Pit Fighter, 5/5/6, a very solid card, almost like how Yeti is. A plain vanilla card that has really good stats, and it's going to be in Arena very powerful. I don't know in Constructed, because you don't see a lot of plain vanilla cards played in Constructed, but with all these reviews, very short reviews I'm giving, I'm reserving judgment, obviously, until we see how it plays out in the meta. Fearsome Doomguard, another vanilla card, except this one's a demon. A 7/6/8. Once again, any cards that summon a random demon has just been buffed, because a very big demon has been thrown into the mix. Demon Fuse, a horrible, horrible card for Warlock, costs 2. It gives a demon +3/+3, but gives your opponent a mana crystal. So, yeah. I mean, you have Demon Fire, which gives +2/+2 and deals 2 damage, or deals 2 damage, one of the two. And this one, you're getting an extra +1/+1, but then you're getting your opponent a mana crystal. It's too much of a drawback. way too much. And a Tuskar Jouster, 5/5/5. Reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, restore 7 health to your hero. A 5/5/5 is a pretty solid card. Paladins tend to run or have a lot more heavier minions just because it's more of a control type deck that most of the Paladins run, except for the one aggro Paladin deck that we all know exists right now. But I think it's a somewhat solid card. And the 7 health to hero, I think, is a big enough benefit to the card as far as Joust goes. But the whole Joust mechanic, I haven't played around that much with it. We saw it in the Brawl, but we're going to have to see more of it to see exactly how it plays out. All right, let's go to the next one here. Epic. A 4/4/4, the crowd favorite. Whenever you play a card with Battlecry, gain +1/+1. So I've heard a lot of reviews on this card. Probably going to be too slow. I mean, how many cards are you going to stack your deck full of cards with Battlecry just so you can give this card +1/+1 after you've already played this one out onto the field, which costs 4 mana? So how many more cards that same turn are you going to be able to play with Battlecry? Very limited use. Ogremar Aspirant, a 3/3/3, inspire, give your weapon +1 attack. I don't think it's a powerful enough inspire ability to really give that card a lot of extra value. We've seen Maiden of the Lake already. Knight of the Wild, Druid card, 7/6/6. Whenever you summon a beast, reduce the cost of this card by 1. Now this one doesn't say that you have to hold it in your hand. I've heard other reviews of this card that devalue it because the assumption is you have to have this card in hand while you play the beast to get the reduction of that cost. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I think what it is as long as if this is your deck and you're playing beast cards, you are getting that discount as the match goes on and you're playing those beast cards. And another Tuskar to tell. All right, let's keep this moving. 6/5/6, Master Jouster. Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. A 6/5/6, for the amount of mana, the stats aren't great, and because of that, the Joust effect doesn't help enough. It's not big enough to have Taunt Divine Shield. It's easily silenced, or Divine Shield is easily dealt with a number of heroes and their hero powers. So it's not going to be enough. Another Tuskar Totemic, a Dragon Hawk Rider, a 3/3/3, inspire, gain Wind Fury this turn. I actually think this card may see some use because on turn 4 to have basically a 6/6, if you're not using it to trade, is not bad at all. Another Fearsome Doomguard, and a Golden Ancestral Knowledge. Alright, let's see what we got in this next one. Murloc Knight, Paladin card. I love this card. I know it hasn't gotten great reviews, but the Inspire mechanic, summon a random Murloc, I really want to see a viable Murloc deck. I really do. And that's Inspire ability of summoning a random Murloc. If we see more Murlocs, especially if they are more expensive, more powerful ones, I could see this ability being strengthened just by adding some new Murlocs. So I think this has a lot of potential, if not now, maybe by the next expansion that Blizzard comes out with. Buccaneer, another rogue card, 1/2/1 pirate. Whenever you equip a weapon, give it +1 attack. So kind of like the Barber Bot right card, except this one acts before versus after. And if a pirate deck is viable, this card would get used a lot. But even without a pirate deck, this card actually, I think, can see some consistent use. Now, this card, I think, has a lot of potential. The 4/5/4 Druid card, it is a beast, so that's a big plus. And once again, it certainly buffs all cards that summon a random beast, especially with this ability, Inspired. Give your hero +2 attack this turn. Wow. I mean, that's that's a really good Inspire ability. So that card will probably see a significant amount of play. Flash Heal, we saw that one before. And a Gadgetson Jouster. A 1/1/2 Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain +1/+1. Probably not going to see a lot of play because if you're playing one-cost minions like this one, and you got to have some mid-game, even if you have a deck that's heavier as far as minion cost goes, the odds aren't going to be high enough to really allow for the use of that card in a competitive deck or a viable deck. What do we got here? 685 Mogor's Champion or Mogor's Champion. Plus 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. So an 8/5 with a 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy basically means that it can die pretty easily. I know an 8/5 for 6 mana, if you add the stats up, it's pretty nice, but that 50% chance, and by the time you're at turn 6, your opponent's going to probably have some minions on the board, and you're going to have to wait another turn before you use this one, and once again, it's only got 5 health. It's a pretty fragile minion. Coliseum Manager, 3/2/5. Inspire, return this minion to your hand. I see the Inspire ability more as a drawback than adding anything, unless they add other cards that interact with this one in a way I'm not thinking of right now. But to return it to your hand, maybe, no, not, I mean, there are certain cards that you benefit from having more cards in your hand, like Twilight Drake, etc., but I don't see it. It makes it so slow. Demon Fuse, we've already gone over that horrible card. Dalaran Aspirant, a 4/3/5 mage card, Inspire, gain spell damage +1. We have yet to see a deck where spell damage, besides Malygos, where spell damage plays a huge role. So Inspire to gain +1 damage. How many times can you use your hero ability after you've summoned this minion and before you've used a lot of your spells that deal damage? You can see the issue there. And the Argent Watchman, 2/2/4, can't attack. Inspire can attack as normal this turn. So, yeah, don't think I have to say much about that card. It's Ancient Watcher, but worse. Because Ancient Watcher is 4/5, and there's already so many ways you can activate it in one fashion or another. And this one, you have to use your hero ability. And then when you use it, you can only attack the turn you've used your hero ability. So you can see the issue with that. Alright. What does this pack hold for us? An epic Arcane Blast. Costs 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion. The spell gets double bonus from spell damage. So if you have +1 spell damage, this deals 4 damage instead of just 2. Obviously trying to tie into the card we just reviewed in the previous pack. I think it's the Dalaran Aspirant. I don't think the tie-in is strong enough. This would be great in the Malygos deck, obviously, because you get double bonus from spell damage, so this actually deals 12 damage, right? 5 times 2 plus 2. So in a Malygos deck, like I've seen Malygos Freeze deck being played, this card would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. But outside of that deck, it's harder to see it getting a lot of play. Totem Golem. Love this card. A 2/3/4 with an overload of 1. Just to play on turn 2 a 3/4, that's a totem, which means that there are benefits that it gets and that it provides to other cards in the Shaman deck. It's a powerful card. Murloc Knight, we reviewed that wonderful card before. Power Shot, wonderful here, Hunter card. Cost 3 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion and the minions next to it, so kind of a Consecrate Light that costs 1 less mana. And, I mean, there aren't that many times when your opponent has many more than 3 minions on the board. So, especially in the beginning of the game, or beginning of the match, which is when you'd want to play this card anyway. And a Bone Guard Lieutenant, a 2/3/2, Inspire, gain +1 health. Seems rather plain. I mean, Inspire, gain +1 health, so let's say turn 3, you're probably not going to want to use your hero power because you're going to want to cast a spell or summon a minion that costs 3 mana. So you usually only want to use your hero power later in the match. And because of that, you probably won't see any health gain until turn 4 or 5 at the least. So, once again, a little slow. And the game +1 health is not that huge. There are other inspired cards that are, Inspire abilities are so much more powerful, like, give +2 attack to your totems or put random spell card in your hand. But to just gain +1 health on a 3/2? Yeah. Alright, Powered Glory, we've reviewed that card. Really nice. Fallen Hero, I've actually already seen this card today being played. 2/3/2 mage card, your hero power deals 1 extra damage. And that 1 extra damage, I've seen it make a difference. To be able to deal 2 damage as your hero power, especially towards the early part of the game, you take out minions that your opponent plays early on. So it's a pretty potent card. Maiden of the Lake, we've seen before. Thunderbluff Valiant, we've seen before. And Living Roots, we have also seen before. Starting to see a lot of repeats here. Wrathguard, yes, of course. Mookless Champion, a 5/4/3 beast. Inspire, give your other minions +1/+1. So I could see this being used kind of in a Paladin deck or other builds of other decks, like a Zoo-like deck, where you're going to have a lot of minions on the board. But you either have to use Inspire the same turn you bring this guy out, or you better hope he survives until the next turn. And on turn 5, with 3 health, you better know your opponent, there's a good chance your opponent has a card that deals with this problem. So, we'll see. But the fact that it's a beast, it does provide it with some benefit. Sparring Partner, a 2/3/2 taunt, battlecry, give a minion taunt. Warrior, obviously playing into the whole new warrior theme of a lot of taunts. Could see some play, possibly. It's a 2/3/2 with taunt. Okay. And the battlecry is give another minion a taunt. So you want to play this not on turn 2, probably. You probably want to play this on turn 4 rather than turn 3, because Warrior doesn't have a lot of 1-cost spells it would want to cast on turn 3. So something like an Abusive Sergeant, where you save it for a later moment in time to play it in a more opportune moment. Holy Champion, we reviewed that card already, and I like this one. The Silverhand Regent, a 3/3/3 Inspire, summon a 1/1 Silverhand Recruit. We were just reviewing another card just a few minutes ago, where it gives +1 to all Silverhand Recruits, and this one actually summons an extra 1/1. Well, by extra, I mean if you're using it in a Paladin deck, which seems like the deck you most likely want to use this card in. So there's going to be a lot of more Silverhand Recruits out there. The Paladin isn't going to be able to hog them all to himself anymore. Alright, so we are going through 15 already of the 75. We've seen the Thunderbluff Valiant, we've seen the Spellslinger, we've seen Bolster. Ooh, new one, Wildwalker. A 4/4/4 battlecry, give a friendly beast +3 health, obviously trying to give more cards to the Druid Beast build deck. And this is kind of like the Priest mech forgetting the name right now. It's not the heal bot, but it's the other one that gives health to other mechs, and we haven't seen a lot of use in that one. Though here there are other cards like the Druid of the Fang, which gets buffed by having a beast out there, and there's a lot of additional beasts, a lot of them, more than people think, that's coming out in the Grand Tournament. So it's going to be hard to tell, I think, until we see more play and use. And we've already seen Power for it, so. Alright. What do we got in this one here? Druid of the Saber. I've already seen use of this card too today. At 2/2/1, choose 1, transform to gain charge, or it's a +1/+1 and stealth. So it's either a 2/1 with charge, or it's a 3/2 with stealth. And that flexibility actually can be very useful, especially in the beginning of the game, especially since Druid has a lot of cards that buff the minions. So having the ability to summon stealth minions versus charge, whether you want to deal with threats or build your board, those two strategies are two strategies you want to use against different types of decks. So the fact that you can switch strategies depending on what deck your opponent is playing or what hero your opponent is, I think that's pretty cool. We've already seen the King's Defender. Ooh, Warhorse Trainer, 3/2/4. Oh no, we've already seen this one, yes. Your Silver Hand recruits have +1 attack. We've reviewed that one already. Bear Trap we've already reviewed, and Argent Horse Rider. I actually saw this play today as well. A 3/2/1 charge with Divine Shield. I actually saw it a Hunter. I saw a Hunter playing this card. Kind of useful. I mean, it can deal with a 3/2, which usually would cost 2 mana, and then it still sticks on the board as a 2/1. Which then theoretically only costs 1 mana because you used theoretically 2 mana to deal with the other 2 mana card. So it's kind of an equalizer of sorts in the beginning of the game. I think it'll see some play. Oh. Bolster, yes, we've seen that. Warhorse Trainer, we've seen that. Argent Lance. Not a great card, and you'll see why in a moment. It's a 2-cost weapon, 2 attack, 2 durability. Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, it gets +1 durability. But even a 2/2/3 weapon, and that is if you get the Battlecry, is not great. In fact, the fact that it's only a 2/2 weapon, if you don't get the Joust win, makes it not very useful. Not very useful at all. And once again, Paladin already has a lot of other weapons that are a lot better and that they use with some frequency. So like True Silver and Cog Hammer and etc. So probably not going to see a lot of use. Ogrimmar Aspirant we've seen before. Spawn of Shadows, a card we'll probably not see a lot of use of. A 4/5/4 priest card, Inspire, deal 4 damage to each hero, of course. Inspire means it's activated upon the use of the hero power, and the hero power of the priest is to heal for 2, so theoretically the priest could heal him or herself for 2, deal 4 damage to each hero, and therefore be ahead by 2 life each turn. That's an extremely slow way of playing. And the priest already has a lot of struggle against the more aggro decks that it has to go through without it slowing it down even more. And this card slows down the priest even more, so probably not going to see a lot of play. Mogar's Champion, we've seen already. Ooh, nice new one. A 2/2/3 Garrison Commander. You can use your hero power twice a turn. Obviously, if you're going to have a lot of Inspire cards in your deck, this is the card to have in your deck because you get to activate the Inspire abilities of your cards twice in 1 turn if you have the mana. But since this only costs 2, later in the game it'd be pretty easy to throw the Garrison Commander out and use your hero power twice and get all of those, activate all those Inspire abilities 2 times in a row. So pretty cool. A Golden Undercity Valiant, Clockwork Knight, a 5/5/5 battle cry, give a friendly mech +1/+1, and it's a mech. It seems like the stats are pretty good with this card, but the problem is there's already a lot of really awesome 5-cost minions out there that I think do more than just give another mech +1/+1. But if you want to do a mech deck, it's a solid mech. And I mean, if you want to do a mech deck where it's just only mechs and no non-mech minions, then you probably would utilize this, but we'll see. And Bolster, which we've already seen already. Pit Fighter, we've reviewed that one. Valdir Raider, we've seen that. Alex Straza's Champion, a 2/2/3 battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and charge. So the question is a 2/3/3 with charge powerful enough of a card? Well, on turn 2, if you have a 3/3 charge, the problem is that the other opponent probably has a 3/2. And if the other opponent has a 3/2, they kill your 3/3 with charge the next turn, and all you achieved was dealing 3 damage to your opponent's face. And because of that, probably not going to see a lot of play. Demon Fuse and Dalaran Aspirant. I keep on missing that. Epic. Garrison Commander, again, nice card. Golden Convert, and the first of this specific card. Priest card, put a copy of an enemy minion into your hand. Not great. Thought Steal is better, and because of that, this card probably won't be played, unfortunately. So, too bad. It could have been better. I love the golden graphics on it, though. I love this fire that swirls off of her staff. That's a really, and the fact that her hair wavers like that. I like that. I love these graphics. It's really nice. A lot of thought was put into it. Powered Glory. You've seen that one. Brave Archer. Brave Archer. I'm surprised that Pixar/Disney is not suing Blizzard for this one, because obviously this is the Irish character from the movie Brave, the red-headed girl who is an archer in the movie Brave, and this is Brave Archer. Inspire. If your hand is empty, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So basically, at best, this card is a 1/2/1 that deals 2 damage to the enemy hero, and that's only if you can empty your hand. And that means you're going to use this later on in the match. And as a hunter, I have had issues trying to empty my deck, or my hand rather, to use cards that are activated. Oh wait, but this is Inspire. If your hand is empty, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So after you play her, you have to then already have your hand empty, then use your hero ability to deal an extra 2 damage. I don't know if that changes that much, because she's pretty fragile, and if the extra 2 damage makes that big of a difference, she's not going to be surviving for long. Epic. Enter the Colosseum. Paladin card. 6 mana, destroy all minions except each player's highest attack minion. With the Peacekeepers in play, I think this card is really powerful. It's a brawl, except the Paladin gets to choose which cards survive on both sides. And the fact that the Paladin has a significant amount of control over that is huge. It's huge because there's so many times where the, where the brawl goes wrong for the warrior because the wrong minions die. Alright, let's see the next one. Master Jouster we've seen, Flash Shield we've seen, Warhorse Trainer we've seen, Bone Guard Lieutenant we've seen, and our first pack where we already reviewed every single card. Flame Lance, first one of this kind. 5 mana mage card spell, deal 8 damage to a minion. Not going to see play. You already have the BGH, you have silence cards, and you have Fireball, Frostbolt, and all the other cards. The problem is all of those other ones are better than this one. And I don't think there's enough room in any of the mage decks to put another spell, card that does damage just to minions. Flame Cannon is better than this card, so yeah. Grand Crusader Epic, a 6/5/5 battlecry. Add a random paladin card to your hand. So it's basically a 6/5/5 draw a card, and it's a paladin card. And the problem is the paladin has a lot of spells that are not great. So I haven't calculated the odds of getting a good card versus a bad card. Somebody out there probably already has. And depending on the deck, some of those cards might be better than others. So this, we're probably going to have to see some play before a decision can be made. Ice Rager, the upgraded Magma Rager. So a 3/5/2. Not much else to say besides the fact that it's an upgraded Magma Rager. Kind of funny, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it gets a lot of play. Healing Wave. This card I like. Shaman card, 3 mana, restore 7 health, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, restore 14 instead. You see, what's great about this card is that restoring 7 health by itself is pretty decent for 3 mana. Because you have 5 mana Heal Bot, which is the 3/3, restore 8 health. So, obviously this one's not as much value, but it's not substantially less enough where it's horrific if you don't win the joust. While restoring the 14 health is huge. And with all of the cards that the Shaman has that play into having huge minions in the deck, you can actually build, I think, one of those types of decks using this card, which is, I think, going to be pretty cool. And a second Flame Lance, unfortunately. Ah, well. Armored Warhorse, a 4/5/3 battlecry, reveal a minion each deck. If yours costs more, gain charge. So is 5 damage the same turn you bring it out for 4 mana worth it? If you win the joust. Probably not. It's 3 health, turn 4, even though it's got the 5 damage. I mean, all the value in it is the fact that it's got the high attack. But the high attack is only useful if you're able to use it, which means you'd have to be able to get the charge, which means you have to be able to win the joust. Probably not going to see a lot of play. Maiden of the Lake, we've already seen. Lowly Squire, first of this one. A 1/1/2 Inspire, gain +1 attack. Very slow card. So turn 2, if you use your hero ability, which probably means you're behind already, it becomes a 2/2. Turn 3, what, you're going to use your hero ability again and make it a 3/2. It would have to survive a long time to get a lot of value. And with 2 health, probably not going to survive that long. Bolster, we reviewed, and Living Roots, we reviewed. King's Elec. Love this card. 2/3/2 Beast, once again. Battlecry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, draw it. So the fact that it's a 2/3/2 Beast is pretty solid, right? That's like the Bloodfin Raptor, except it's got an awesome effect, which is the Joust effect. So drawing a card is huge, especially at the very beginning. And I think that this will probably see some play in some Control Hunter decks. And it's going to be awesome. Wrathguard, we've reviewed. Brave Archer, of course. Darnassus Aspirant, another card that I've seen play today, actually. Battlecry, gain an empty mana crystal. Death Rattle, lose a mana crystal. So basically, as long as this card is alive, the Druid has an additional mana crystal. It's like a free wild growth, as long as it lives. The problem is that the time I saw it played, I was able to kill both of them the turn they were played. So they didn't see much use. I mean, didn't see much value, those that match. Of course, you can argue that it has kind of automatic taunt because you don't want it to survive and live on the board, which does have some value. But I think it'll see play anyway. I think there'll be enough times where it survives that the Druid will be able to play at least 1 or 2 cards that take advantage of the fact that they have an additional mana crystal. And Muko's champion. Love that guy. That gorilla, let me tell you. By the way, for any biologists out there, ooh, I can't wait to look at this card. For any biologists out there, I called it a gorilla, but now that I think about it, probably not a gorilla. But, you know, you're going to have to give me some flexibility there. Our first legend, Chillmaw, 7/6/6 dragon. Taunt, death rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. Kind of like Flame Leviathan, which didn't see much value, see much play rather. So this one is a Flame Leviathan only if you're holding a dragon. And for 7 mana, there's so much better cards to play, such as Dr. Boom. So I love the concept of this card, but unfortunately, don't think it's going to see a lot of play. Tournament Medic, we've seen. Bash, we haven't seen. Deal 3 damage, gain 3 armor for the Warrior. I actually seen that card played today, and I beat the Warrior who played, and he actually played both cards, both Bashes that he had. And maybe it's because he didn't use it properly, but did not give a lot of value. Much at all, actually. So even though some people have said that this card is good, some YouTubers who've given reviews on this, I would say this card is subpar. Gvalder Raider, we've seen that card before. And Lights Champion, a 3/4/3 Battlecry Silence a Demon. Wow. So it's only good against Warlock and only good against Warlocks that play Demon, which means it's not good against a lot of Valley Ghosts and Handlock decks. So not going to see a lot of play. Captured Drillmonger, we've seen that one. Competitive Spirit. Competitive Spirits, I've seen some people review this, and I think they were confused because it says when your turn starts, give your minions +1/+1, which means that your minions that you play, the turn that you play the spell, have to survive until the next turn. So the issue is that if you don't have the minions on the board that you play the previous turn when you play this spell, you don't get the effect. That's the problem. But to be fair, if you play this card in the beginning of a match and you already have a lot of your Silverhand recruits out there, then with spells like Muster, then it's unlikely that this will not hit at least a couple of them, and you only have to hit 2 really to see good value from it. So I think it'll be played. Evil Heckler. So basically an upgraded Booty Bay guard, or Booty Bay bodyguard rather, and yeah, that's what it is. Golden Common, Shadowpan Rider, a 5/3/7 rogue card, gain +3 attack if you combo. So I think it'll be pretty easy to combo this card with something else, and to have a discounted the Ogre, the 6/7. I think it's pretty good. I think it is pretty good. Have it on turn 5, or rather, it would have to be a turn 6 to have a 6/7, and then you're able to play something else. I see they're trying to make Control Rogue viable, and we'll see if cards like this make it happen. And our wonderful Murloc Knight. Shady Dealer, a 3/4/3 pirate. Battlecry, if you have a pirate, gain +1/+1. Pirates aren't really big right now. I don't think they're going to be big in the future, so kind of a gimmicky card, unfortunately. Mookless Champion, we've already seen. Knight of the Wild, Golden Rare, nice. We reviewed it before, but I do love this rain graphic on it. That's really neat. Argent Horse Rider we've seen, and Flame Juggler we've seen. Alright, what do we got here? Epic, Master of Ceremonies, 3/4/2, Battlecry. If you have a minion with spell damage, gain +2/+2. I've seen some reviews on this card, and I think I have to agree in that this is too slow. You're not going to build a deck around having a lot of spell damage minions out there, and because of that, it's hard to see a lot of scenarios where you're going to be playing this card. At best, maybe it's a 3/6/4, but you have the dragon that you can discount, the 6/4 dragon. That would be easier to discount than to buff this card. So, probably not going to skill out play. Our second legendary, Acid Maw, unfortunately. A 7/4/2, whenever another minion takes damage, destroy it, beast for Hunter. So, to get the value, it costs 7, which probably means you're not going to be doing anything else that turn. And it only has 2 health, which means it's extremely easy to kill. So, maybe if you get this off of a random summon, it's awesome. I think that's basically what this does. This basically buffs cards that summon a random beast. Summon a random beast, not put a random beast card into your hand, because it's the cost that makes it ridiculous, unfortunately. Undercity Valiant we've reviewed, Flame Lance we've reviewed, and Warhorse Trainer we have reviewed. Flame Juggler, of course, Thunderblood Valiant, okay, Shadowpan Rider, okay, Warhorse Trainer, okay, Silverhand Regent, alright. Now we're going to see a lot of duplicates, so we'll be moving quite a bit faster. Mover's Champion, okay, Bottle of Power Word Glory, Living Roots, Healing Wave. A Golden Seal of Champions, 3 mana, give a minion +3 attack and Divine Shield, Paladin card. Yeah, there's already a card that for 1 mana gives +3 attack, so you're basically paying an extra 2 mana for Divine Shield. But there's already a 2 mana card that's a 2/2 that gives Divine Shield as a Battlecry ability, so need I say more? Not a great card, unfortunately. Though I do like the golden effects of it. Ancestral Knowledge, Silverhand Regent, Warhorse Trainer. Cut Purse, 2/2/2 rogue card. Whenever this minion attacks a hero, add the coin to your hand. So basically you're able to add lots of coins in your hand if you are able to attack with this specific card often. Is that going to happen? Probably not often enough, unfortunately. Once again, if it has enough value to get a lot of the coins, your opponent's going to get rid of this card early on, unfortunately. And King Zealot. Alright, folks, we're going to do one more pack now, and we'll continue later on. It's been taking a lot longer than I thought, even with quick reviews. And we'll continue this in a second and possibly third part, which we'll release individually. And then later on, we'll be seeing these in play, and I think it'll be awesome to see how everything turns out in the end and how the game changes with all of these new mechanics and all of these new cards that I think are going to definitely have a significant effect on how the game is played. So let's do this last pack. King's Alec, we've seen. Tiny Knight of Evil. I love the name of this one, by the way. A 2/3/2 demon card. Whenever you discard a card, gain +1/+1. The problem is and I know there are other cards that benefit of from the discard mechanic. The problem is that the discard is so random, and it's always random. There's no card that actually allows you to discard it, unless, of course, your hand is small enough where you can basically determine which cards are being discarded. The drawback that it's random will always make it inconsistent, and any deck that's inconsistent will never be that viable or that competitive. Dragonhawk Rider, another Dragonhawk Rider, and another Lance Carrier. Well, folks, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below, and if you enjoyed the video, also leave a like. And until next time, keep playing.